All righty, here we go. So, welcome back to Corey's confusing, unnamed, untitled book reviews. So normally I do like a little whole stack of like books at a time. Last couple of times that I've done this, I kind of like forgot what I had written, what I have read like a month ago. So if we do 4 books a month, and even assuming that I'm at a fast rate and I'm doing a book a week, uh, that's still a month before I review the book, the first book. So I literally just got through reading this. This is Their Eyes Were Watching God. Let me bring up the thing here so we get. Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora and Neale Hurston. It was like 1936, 1936, yeah, 1937. This is one of the books, the stack of books that I got in, I think it was like English composition, like 102 or whatever, one of the upper level English. Like they did like a tour through like world literature or something like that. And there was a big focus on a lot of African American stuff, and this was one of them. And it's been really hit or miss so far. A lot of misses so far, but this one was not. This was fantastic. I just got through reading this today. It's Sunday, and I spent pretty much all day reading pretty much like 80% of this book just in one sitting. It took a little while. I think it was start and stop. The first a few chapters, I really wasn't getting into it, but after you get a little bit into the book, I'd say about 15 or 20% into the book. After the first chapter or two, it really starts picking up. And then I just read it like straight through. It was fantastic. Let's do the blurb. So Eyes Are Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. It says it's novel. This one is by Harper Perennials Modern Classics. So there's no more important book to me than this one, Alice Walker. I don't know who that is. On the back it says, this is synopsis of the book. Janie saw her life like a great tree in leaf, with the things suffered, things enjoyed, things done and undone. Dawn and doom was in the branches. This is just a really evocative book. We'll get into it a little bit more. Let's do the inner cover. Yeah. This is a review blurb. It says, Their Eyes Were Watching God belongs in the same category with the works of William Faulkner, F. Scott Fitzgerald, and Ernest Hemingway, that of enduring American literature. The cover says, inner cover says, one of the most important works of 20th century American literature, Zora Neale Hurston's beloved 1937 classic, Their Eyes Were Watching God, is an enduring Southern love story sparkling with wit, beauty, and heartfelt wisdom. That's absolutely true. Told in the captivating voice of a woman who refuses to live in sorrow, bitterness, fear, and foolish romantic dreams, it is the story of a fair-skinned, fiercely independent Janie Crawford and her evolving selfhood through 3 marriages and a life marked by poverty, trials, and purpose. A true literary wonder, Hurston's masterwork remains as relevant and affecting today as when it was first published. Perhaps the most widely read and highly regarded novel in the entire canon of African American literature. The prototypical black novel of affirmation, it is the most successful, convincing, and exemplary novel of black love that we have, period. That was written by June Jordan of Black World. That is a great synopsis of this book. The book is fantastic. It's kind of in the same vein of like, so it's like early 19th century. So it's like the 30s or 20s or something like that was when it was set in. there's a lot of I forget the name for the word of where things are not written just like how they're spelled. They're spelled how they sound. Kind of like Clements. What is his name? Oh my God. Just Samuel Clements. Uh, yeah. Mark Twain. Yeah. Mark Twain. Tom Sawyer. You had people that speak in a dialect in the book. This is almost exclusively, except for like the head talk or whatever, the narrative voice. All of the dialogue is in very clearly Southern dialect. By Southern, I mean Southern poverty, not the the highfalutin. What's the name of that senator's voice? The Lindsay, Senator Lindsay's not that Southern voice, but yeah, it's very much in a very Southern voice. This thing just oozes Southern. It's like, now this is, I think it's probably a step down from this book, but these like Still Magnolias in book form is kind of like this right here, like a Black Still Magnolias or something. Like this is, the story is, well, it is a romance, but it's also, there's no like plot. There's no like protagonist and they're plotting alone. Not really or anything. It's just a story, a kind of a slice of life kind of thing. It's pictures from this, the Janie Crawford is the name of the protagonist, but it's just so good. Let's just, I knew it was going to take it. I was a little disappointed. It took me a little while to get caught on because I was basically sold from the first sentence. Let's do this. Where's this? We can find it. Where's that sentence at? Okay. So this is just like the first paragraph of the book. Ships at a distance have every man's wish on board. For some they come in with the tide, for others they sail forever in the horizon, never out of sight, never landing until the watcher turns his eye away in resignation. His dreams mocked to death by time, that is the life of men. Now women forget all of those, this is the next one. Now women forget all of those things they don't want to remember and remember things they don't want to forget. Dream is the truth, and then they act and do things accordingly. This is like, it starts off just hitting, like, amazing. The dialect or whatever, I forget what the name for where things are spelt like they sound, whenever author does that, but it's a little hard to read at first. I think that's what kind of kept me from getting really into it, because it's frustrating because you can't just sight read, where you're just doing pattern recognition. You have to like sound out the words in your head to understand what they're saying, because the spelling is so different. But after a while, by the end of the book, I was just reading almost at full speed. But it did slow me down a good deal at first, and I think that's what kind of kept me from getting into this book for a little bit, because this has been in the queue or whatever for like a couple of weeks already, and I would pick it up and I'd read a little bit, pick it up and read a little bit. But like I said, by the time I got about 2 or 3 chapters in, it's not that the story picked up, but I guess I got used to reading the dialect, and I was able to, for whatever reason, it kind of picked up for me. But this was, I can understand why people love this book. I can understand why. So a lot of times, there's good books like I love Star Wars, but it wasn't in English composition. This is very much an English composition type book, but it's modern. It's modern in that sense that it they weren't talking about things that I couldn't understand, like Dickens or whatever. Some of the things that were going on in the book, that Tale of Two Cities, some of the things that were going on in that book, I just really couldn't connect to it. But this is modern enough that everything that was being talked about was pretty much you could understand. And then there was some slang and stuff in here that I wasn't quite familiar with, but it wasn't enough to detract from the story. You can just kind of gloss past it. But you didn't have to do, I didn't find myself having to do really close readings or anything to follow the story. I'm sure you can really do that. I'm not a fan of close reading where you try to twist the meaning of things and make up your own interpretation of what's being said. I like taking things as at face value, but it's what English majors like to do is analysis or whatever. But yeah, I just read it right through, and like I said, it's just a really good book. I'm really glad that I finally took the time to read it. And she has a couple other books, I think. May pick one of those up eventually. I think it's I forget what else she has. She has a couple other books. It's Dust Tracks on a Road, Tell My Horses, and Every Tongue Got to Confess, and I might pick up another one of her books. She just had a really great, I just love her authorial voice. That said, I don't think I'm going to read this again, just because it's a romance. I'm not really into romances. And this isn't like I've never read one, but this doesn't seem like a Harlequin romance or like it's not porn for women. It's not what this is. This, it's not like Shades of Grey, 50 Shades of Grey. It's not porn for women when they say romance. It's literally just, there's not even like a love scene in here or anything like that. It's just like a sex scene or anything. It's just romance, and it's about her. See, it's first husband, and husband kind of treats her bad in one way, and then she runs off with this other husband, and he's good at first, but then he puts her like up on a pedestal and treats her bad in a different way, and then she finally finds out falls in love with another guy, and they have a really beautiful romance, and it's just really good. It was a nice it's a nice break from the stuff that I normally read. But yeah, I would highly recommend this book. Is Their Eyes for Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. This is the paperback on Amazon. I'll probably put a link in the description. It's like $10, so it's not expensive either. But yeah. Oh, the book itself, I really like this format. It's got like this kind of serrated pages, or whatever, flappy pages at the end. They're kind of rough. I don't know what that's called, but that's kind of neat. And it's just it was a really nice, I don't know, maybe I'm becoming more of a fan of paperbacks, but it's just a really nice, it was comfortable to hold and comfortable to read. I really liked it. But anyway, so that's that. That's Zora Neale Hurston's Their Eyes Are Watching God. Next up is it's a nonfiction book. It's Restoration Agriculture by Mark Shepard. Real world permaculture for farmers. So this is kind of like a manual for like large scale. Basically, you could think it of as sustainable farming. Basically, that's oversimplifying things, but should be a good read. Like it's pretty a pretty dense book, so it's probably going to take me a little while to get through this one, but we will see. Yeah, we'll see you guys on that one pretty soon. Bye, guys.